How's it going, everyone? In today's video we will be taking a look at Pakistani Al-Khalid tank and Indian Arjun Mk2 and compare them to see which tank comes out on top. Both tanks are a big topic of discussion, especially in Indian and Pakistani online communities and forums.
Arjun is the best.
Al-Khalid is the best.
But I decided to give a look at those tanks from an unbiased point of view. If I make some mistakes, I want you to know that it is unintentional and any criticism would be beneficial. What is intentional though is me talking about my sponsor. This video is sponsored by War Thunder. War Thunder is a military vehicle combat online game. It is free to play on PC, PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Not to mention that it is cross-platform between PC and consoles. The game features an incredible arsenal of more than 1500 historically accurate playable tanks, aircraft, helicopters and ships from 1930s to 1990s. Best thing about the game are its realistic physics and one of the most detailed and immersive vehicle damage models in gaming. If you use my link to register, you will receive a bonus, a premium vehicle, tank, aircraft or ship, as well as a 3-day account boost. The game is completely free, so nothing is stopping you. You can start playing immediately. Okay, first we are going to take a look at the protection. Al-Khalid is made on a basis of Chinese Type 92 tank, which means that the base armor is not that good, and is estimated at around 400mm against modern APF SDS and 600mm against heat projectiles. The hull is rated at around 300mm against APF SDS and 500mm against heat. Now, Al-Khalid is equipped with Aurak Mk2 explosive reactive armor, which should decrease the penetration of both APF SDS and heat projectiles. There are some claims that Aurak is based on Ukrainian Norj ERA. If that is true, then the ERA should degrade some 30% of APF SDS penetration, and offer a lot of heat protection on top of that. So if we take the original protection values and add ERA on top of that, the protection together with ERA is around 520 to 550mm against APF SDS and around 1000mm against heat. But one massive issue with Al-Khalid is that the hull does not have any ERA on it. There are only some track links mounted on the hull that resemble the ERA blocks. As I said in my Problems with Al-Khalid video, if you see a tank that you think is Al-Khalid, which has ERA on both hull and the turret, it is most probably VT1. Another problem is that the ERA doesn't even cover the entire turret, just one portion of it. There is still a decent area that is exposed. You can make an argument about the hull that if a tank needs to go to war, they can just equip ERA on it. But the problem is, it is not that easy. ERA blocks need mounts, which need to be welded or bolted onto the tanks. Not to mention that you have to make those mounts first. Since Pakistan operates hundreds of Al-Khalid tanks, this can take very long time to do. And if the tanks need to be quickly deployed, you have two options. Have low availability until all tanks are equipped with ERA, which as I said can really take a while, or send them without adequate protection. Any way you put it, the outcome is not that good. Now, here is the problem. There are literally no estimates on Arjun's armor, but we do know that the ERA they are using is reverse-engineered Russian Contact 5, so the protection should at least be comparable to the one of Al-Khalid. But the chances are that it is better. Arjun also has ERA placed on the hull unlike Al-Khalid. But the problem is that the right cheek, because of the main gun sight, doesn't. As you can see, both tanks have unprotected weak spots on their frontal protection. Good thing about Arjun is that it at least has composite and ERA covering 1/3 of the turret's side. Al-Khalid appears to have only simple steel or very weak composite, which means that, unlike Arjun, even a hit from 30 degrees would penetrate the tank. Again, Arjun also has ERA covering the front of the hull's side, so the tank should be able to sustain some hits coming from 30-degree angle, but Al-Khalid does not have any additional side protection. Among other things regarding the protection, you can come across some Al-Khalid tanks equipped with Ukrainian Varta soft-kill active protection system, which includes dazzlers and laser warning receivers, which warn the crew when the tank is being lased by a rangefinder or an ATGM guiding system. But when the tanks have VARTA mounted, the ERA on the turret is for some reason moved to the hull, which begs the question, why not put ERA on the hull in the first place? Arjun Mk2 doesn't have the Dazzlers, but it does have laser warning receivers. Al-Khalid would have had better protection if they weren't removing ERA from the turret to mount VARTA, but also considering that only a handful of tanks have a VARTA installed, you have majority of tanks that don't even have laser warning receivers, which are default on Arjun Mk2. So Arjun Mk2 is a winner in terms of protection, because its hull is actually protected by ERA and one part of the side armor is as well as laser warning receivers equipped on every tank by default. Now we come to firepower. Al-Khalid is equipped with 125mm smoothbore gun, and it can fire either Pakistani's own Nazia APF-SDS with 550mm penetration and 2 km, or Chinese 125-2 with 600mm penetration. It can also fire basic high explosive and heat projectiles, as well as anti-tank guided missiles. Arjun Mk2 is armed with 120mm rifled gun, which can fire underwhelming Mark I APF-SDS, which can only penetrate around 300mm at 2 km, because it is really short. The tank can fire HASH projectiles as well as ATGMs. So all in all, the firepower of Al-Khalid is clearly superior, simply because of its vastly superior penetration. Next up is the fire control system. Both tanks have battle management system, second generation thermal for the gunner, and all the other minor things that modern tanks have. But there is one big difference between the two. Arjun Mk2 is equipped with the thermal sight for the commander, while in Al-Khalid, the commander's sight is not, it can only use passive night vision mode. This difference, although it is only a single difference, is important, because the commander has much better chances of spotting a target in thermal sight than with simple magnification optic, which means that Arjun Mk2 has superior fire control system when compared to Al-Khalid. And last but not the least, mobility. Al-Khalid is powered by 1200 horsepower 6TD2 diesel engine, which can produce 3233 Nm of torque. This engine is a further evolution of Ukrainian 6TD opposed piston engine. Although the engine produces 1200 horsepower, peak torque is pretty low. In fact, the torque is comparable to the 840 horsepower engine of T-72B from 1985. This means that the tank's acceleration is nothing to brag about. The tank is equipped with semi-automatic transmission, which is better than manual but not as good as automatic. Arjun is powered by MB838 K501 1400 horsepower diesel engine. The torque this engine produces on maximum RPM is 4150 Nm. It can possibly produce even more, but I couldn't find on what RPM does the engine achieve maximum torque. Nevertheless, the engine produces around 1000 Nm of torque more, that is 1/3 of 6TD2's torque. The tank also has semi-automatic transmission. But the tank is heavier. In fact, it is more than 20 tons heavier than Al-Khalid. This seriously cripples Arjun Mk2's mobility. Even though the engine of Arjun is much better, the weight just drags down every upside Arjun had. So I would have to give this one to Al-Khalid, simply because the lower weight enables it to go over softer ground easier and go over bridges, since Arjun's 68-ton weight really makes it problematic to go over vast majority of bridges. Don't forget to check out War Thunder, where you can take control of many land, air or naval vehicles. Use the link from the description to get a premium vehicle and a 3-day account boost when you register. Remember, the game is completely free for PC, PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Just download and play. At the end, Arjun Mk2 has better protection and fire control system, and Al-Khalid has better firepower and mobility. Now, you can't really say which one of the two is better. It all boils down to personal preference. Do you prefer protection over firepower, or vice versa? Would you like to have better battlefield observation, or would you rather be able to go wherever you want without worrying the ground underneath your feet will betray you? As I said, it all boils down to what you consider better. That would be all. If you like my content, you can consider supporting me on Patreon, and if you can't, just leave a like or subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I will see you all in the next video. Have a nice day.